So get this, guys. We got some breaking news here. The FBI, yes, headed by FBI Director Cash Money Patel, the FBI enlists UFC fighters to train prospective special agents, guys. I'm not kidding. This is an unbelievable story, guys. The FBI is now training with the UFC. They've linked up with the UFC in a very strategic partnership. And yeah, guys, this is happening. And you know what? I'm not surprised because UFC Freedom 250, the White House card that's coming up on June 14th, they got to make sure that they've got a lot of security on the ground. So working with the FBI, I think, is going to help be able to bring some of that security to the event. And I mean, I think it's a good partnership because now you got UFC fighters who are going to be kind of in tune with what it is that the FBI is doing and how they run their operations, and kind of work together just to make sure that overall the security as is where it needs to be at a heightened level. So when you really stop to think about it, I mean, it tells you a lot about the UFC, where it's at, the world that we live in today, with all that's going on right now, with all the global uncertainty. It's we're kind of at that level that we need to make sure that our security is at an optimum level. So because there's a seminar that the FBI is going to be doing, they're going to be working with the UFC, and it's not just like a seminar where people are just invited to participate and just like listen. And there's going to be interactive sessions going on, some training, and the FBI decided, hey, this would be a great opportunity to have some UFC fighters to be able to partake in that, so they can provide some of that training and and to be able to share some of that information with their colleagues and peers as well. So this is a major signal, guys, about the influence that the UFC has, not only inside the cage but outside of the cage. And yeah, there could be a bigger story here than most people are, that probably most people are missing. But I mean, at the end of the day, we'll talk all about that for sure, guys. So welcome back, guys. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. And guys, I mean, this is an incredible story. It's an interesting one. I mean, because the FBI, and this is not just new. I mean, the FBI has been working pretty closely with folks from the UFC. They've got, Dana White, as you know, is really good friends with the president himself, President Donald Trump. And in this scenario, with this partnership, this very strategic partnership that the UFC has landed with the FBI, it's really designed to kind of provide training seminars at the FBI Academy at Quantico in Virginia. And there's going to be a number of different sessions that's going to happen. I'm not really privy to all that's going on, but this is just some of the information that we're able to pull from social media. And I mean, on the surface, I mean, it sounds pretty simple. You got UFC fighters who are going to be teaching agents on how to fight. So now, aside from that, and what other kind of special training that's going to be happening, I don't know. But I think this is good because, I mean, agents are going to be able to learn how to combat fight, and to learn the different kinds of disciplines when it comes to martial arts. So when you really kind of dig into it, the story is really something about it's about something much bigger, right, guys? So according to the reports, the FBI has invited several current and former UFC fighters to run a two-day training seminar on March 14th and the 15th at the FBI Special Agent Academy at Quantico in Virginia. The sessions are going to be an exclusive, it's going to be an exclusive event to Academy students and senior FBI staff. And the list of names involved is actually pretty interesting. You've got Justin Gaethje, who just came off an unbelievable win for the interim lightweight title against Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And so Justin Gaethje is going to be there, Michael Chandler, and then you got Manel Kape representing the current UFC fighters. And then on the alumni side, you got Jorge Masvidal, you got Chris Weidman, Claudio Gadelha, and Renzo Gracie. This is very interesting stuff, guys. So even even UFC matchmaker Mick Maynard will probably be, well, we were told will be part of the seminar. So this isn't just a casual appearance, guys. This is a full UFC-led training experience inside probably one of the most famous law enforcement academies in the world. Quantico is very famous. There's a lot of TV shows and movies that have spun off from Quantico itself. But I mean, the messaging around this partnership between the UFC and FBI has been and is very, very clear. The FBI director, Kash Patel, was called in to talk about this, and he himself has weighed in on what's going on between this deal between the UFC and FBI, and he said that it's a historic partnership. And he said that it gives agents, honestly, an opportunity to be able to train with probably some of the best fighters on the planet, and really helps prepare them to better protect the American people. He also gave Dana White, president of the UFC, a lot of credit, saying that Dana changed the way the MMA industry is today, and that the FBI is honored to partner up with the UFC. So, which again, is not something that you would have heard like 20 years ago, right? So Dana White responded to this, and he said that this partnership between the UFC and FBI is, I mean, it speaks volumes, and said that he has a tremendous amount of respect for the FBI and the work that they do. He said that the UFC fighters are some of the toughest athletes on the planet, and this seminar and these training sessions and workshops will give them the chance to be able to train elite agents in the various mixed martial arts disciplines and techniques. So from both sides, the message is clear. This is being presented as a mutual exchange of expertise. And here's where things really kind of get interesting, because the moment that this news broke, I think people were just like, wow, this is absolutely incredible. Because honestly, guys, not too long ago, the world of MMA as a sport as we know it was still fighting for legitimacy. Politicians across the board from both sides were trying to find ways to be able to ban the sport, to be able to water it down, cancel it, but to no avail, right? I mean, major television networks as well were not touching the UFC and MMA fights for quite some time, and critics honestly called the UFC another version of human cockfighting, right? So fast forward today, now the FBI is inviting UFC fighters to Quantico to help train federal agents on how to fight. Absolutely impressive. That's a massive shift in perception. It just shows that mixed martial arts now is widely recognized as probably one of the most effective real-world combat systems, and I mean, military personnel, elite training fighting agents are all trying to understand and learn the various arts within mixed martial arts, so that they could get a better understanding and a more better or better training, shall I say, in how to fight, right? Because there's many ways to fight, and it's not just going up to somebody, grabbing their collar, and then throwing punches. There's different things that you can do, and with mixed martial arts, there's so many different kinds of techniques you need to know. When to punch, how to punch, when to grapple, how to do a takedown, how to defend from a takedown, your timing, your footwork. There's a lot of different things in play, right? So, I mean, there's lots of different techniques that the MMA pulls from, such as wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, just to name a few, Muay Thai. I mean, it goes on and on and on, Taekwondo, Karate, Kung Fu. If you're teaching somebody on how to control a fight situation, MMA is probably the most practical skill sets that you can teach somebody, because there's just so much practicality that you can learn from understanding and learning how to fight MMA style, right? But I mean, the significance goes even deeper than that, because I mean, there's just another layer to the story that people in the business side of combat sports will obviously notice. And I mean, with this partnership between the UFC and with FBI, it's going to bring about a new age, or it's going to bring MMA into a new age, into a new fold, a new light, really kind of helping people have a better perspective and perhaps maybe a better understanding into MMA. And it's actually only going to do uh, it's only going to help the UFC be able to open up new markets and to be able to share their story and to be able to bring in a new fan base, perhaps new fighters, and really kind of help expand their base, right? So that in itself, that influence is going to be huge. I mean, it's going to be very powerful. It's going to be a very powerful tool for the UFC in general. But I mean, I think these are some of the things that that is going to happen from this partnership, because the UFC today is not just a fight promotion like a lot of people think it is. I mean, it's honestly like a global sports brand. It's got a lot of cultural influence. You see fights happening all around the world. You see fighters from all corners of the world getting involved in MMA. You see it in politics. You see it in entertainment. I mean, you see it in the military and how law enforcement, works, right? I mean, just in their very fabric. I mean, Dana White has built a very, very strong relationship in all of those spaces. So when the FBI director openly praises the UFC and brings fighters to Quantico, that tells you that this is a big deal, right? So the UFC brand now carries some very, well, shall I say, serious credibility in a lot of these high-level institutions, and that kind of credibility is only going to further strengthen the company's brand, their power when it comes to negotiations, and their reputation, not only within the country of the United States, but globally, all around the world, right? This partnership is going to help position the UFC and other fight promotions potentially that are in the same industry. And the thing is, guys, we're not talking about boxing. We're not talking about PFL. We're not talking about one championship or kickboxing. We're talking about the UFC here. The UFC is involved in this partnership, and they didn't ask the WBC or WBAIBF, the WBO, or any of these other organizations within the world of combat sports like boxing and other MMA organizations to partake. It was just the UFC that they wanted. Very, very interesting, guys. And depending on how these workshops and seminars actually, or depending on the success of them, it probably won't be the last time that we see something like this, right? This was just the first batch of some of the elite UFC fighters, past, present, that are going to be partaking in this. But perhaps there's going to be another wave of UFC fighters in the future, and who knows? Maybe some of these fighters may get active gigs, perhaps maybe roles within the government to be able to stay on and continue on with the training. For the fighters itself, it's going to open up new doors, new possibilities in terms of how their career looks and where their career takes them. So, I mean, you got military training programs, you got tactical defense organizations, you got law enforcement agencies, I mean, all around the world who are going to be taking notice, who are going to be actively watching, because MMA now is viewed as a complete combat system, not just as a sport, right? So things like this, news like this, moments like this are going to only help propel the UFC to higher limits and push it deeper into mainstream legitimacy, right? So yeah, I mean, on the surface, the story is about UFC fighters teaching FBI agents on the different ways to fight and engage in combat sports, combat fighting. But I mean, the real story is bigger than that. And there is obviously another sign that mixed martial arts has truly entered the global mainstream. And so a sport that once struggled, we're trying to find acceptance, is now being embraced as probably one of the most powerful tools that law enforcement agencies can potentially take advantage of. So whether you love the UFC or criticize it, hate it, I mean, honestly, guys, you have to admit that this is pretty big news and it's pretty remarkable, especially considering the evolution of the sport of MMA and the promotion that we once knew as the UFC, which is now turned into a global brand, a global iconic brand. So keep in mind, guys, UFC Freedom 250, the White House card is around the corner. Already 6 fights have been named to that. I mean, there's been a lot of people who have been sidelined for this event who were not accepted. People like big names like John Jones, Conor McGregor, even Kobe Covington did not get the nod. Sean Strickland's not there. So it's surprising to a lot of us, but when you really delve into the stories, You know, there's obviously some context to it. And I've been putting on some of my videos as well too. I just did a video on John Jones has asked Dana White and the UFC for a release. He's very bummed that he's very upset that he's not on this card. And he said that, well, since the UFC doesn't think I'm capable of fighting, please release me. He wants to quit from the UFC. But anyways, guys, there's lots of stories like that happening. I want to hear your thoughts, your comments. What do you think about this kind of partnership between the FBI and the UFC? Is it good for MMA? Is it good for the UFC? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if any of you are in the military or have taken any kind of training in combat sports, especially MMA, and how do you feel about this? So you know, is the UFC becoming too tied into like politics and institutions, or is it a good move, right? Let me know in the comments, guys. Please make sure to smash a like and subscribe and hit the notifications so you guys never miss a beat. The pleasure was all mine. I look forward to seeing you guys in tomorrow's video.